Hello and welcome back to Israel with Aline. Today we are in Beit Shemesh, a very important biblical city linked to the kings of Judah, the theft of the Ark of the Covenant, and also to the plague of hemorrhoids. We will see brand new archaeological excavations, which are believed to have found the exact location of the Ark of the Covenant. So, if you are ready, let's get started. Over here, we see the old part of Beit Shemesh, which has well over 3,000 years of history. But if we look just a few meters over here, we can already see the new Beit Shemesh, a city founded in 1951, which today has over 150,000 inhabitants. And as beautiful as this city is today, we are really going to focus on the biblical and historical part. So come with me. This city was founded by the Canaanites and was originally called Beit Shemesh or Shemesh, which means the house of the sun or the city of the sun. And the name already gives us a hint of what probably happened here. We know that the Canaanites were pagans, polytheists, and believed in many gods and entities, among them the sun. And many experts believe that this city was dedicated to the worship of the sun god, which was extremely forbidden according to the Bible, as we can hear in this verse from Deuteronomy. When you look up to the sky and see the sun, the moon, and the stars, all the heavenly array, do not be enticed into bowing down to them and worshiping things the Lord your God has apportioned to all the nations under heaven. With the entry of the people of Israel into the promised land, all this territory will be divided among the 12 tribes. And this area here of Beit Shemesh is destined for the tribe of Judah. And more specifically, it should be a city of the Levites. The Levites were a tribe that did not receive a unified territory, but rather they were to be spread among the 12 tribes of Israel, since they had a very important role, a role of worshiping God and helping the other tribes to also approach the God of Israel. And perhaps it was not a coincidence that they received precisely this city. Perhaps the idea was for the Levites to stay here worshiping the God of Israel to definitively end the worship of the sun god. So this should have been a city of the Levites, but that's not exactly how it happens in history. Because there is another people competing for the same region. And these people are the Philistines, a people coming from the region of Kaftor in southern Europe with ships. And they arrive through the coast and start to conquer city after city and conquer the entire region here near us. And so all this area was a border zone between the territory of the people of Israel and the Philistines. And so here there were constantly conflicts and battles. An example of this is Samson himself. Hear his name, Shimshon, the man of the sun. We see that his name is connected here to the region and the city where he was born, which is the city of Zorah. It is simply 3 kilometers from here, and he fought for the people of Israel against the Philistines. So we see how everything is historically connected. Beit Shemesh, the sanction and the constant battles against the Philistines. And this city really was the scene of many wars and passed from people to people. This city belonged to the Canaanites, the Israelites, the Philistines, the Persians, the Babylonians, the Romans, the Greeks. So many nations have passed through here, and each nation will leave its mark and its constructions. And now we are walking towards the location of the Ark of the Covenant, seeing all these antiquities and historical periods. Let's go. Look, I know the city's name isn't because of this, but it's so sunny today, so hot. It really helps us imagine how hard life was for people in this city. And here we are seeing archaeological excavations that show us a little part of the city. But before we see the city itself, we are going to explore its underground, because we are now going down to the lower part of the city of Beit Shemesh. Come with me. Wow! We can see the stairs here. They are completely deteriorated by time and also by the people who passed through here. Look how colossal this water system is. It was built 3,000 years ago. And it was in use until the Assyrian invasion of the year 701. This means that for 2,300 years, this is the main source of water for all of Beit Shemesh, and it has a capacity between all its side rooms, everything together, to 8,000 cubic meters of water. Among the many wars that happened here in Beit Shemesh, one of the saddest was a war between brothers. When the kingdom of Israel decides to attack the kingdom of Judah, and the great battle happens right here in Beit Shemesh, as it is written in this verse. And Joash, king of Israel, and Amaziah, king of Judah, saw each other face to face in Beit Shemesh, which is in Judah. And Judah was struck down before Israel, and each fled to his tent. And Joash, king of Israel, captured Amaziah, king of Judah, son of Joash, son of Ahaziah, in Beit Shemesh. He came to Jerusalem and broke down the wall of Jerusalem, from the gate of Ephraim to the corner gate, 400 cubits, and took all the gold and silver and all the vessels that were found in the house of the Lord, and the treasures of the king's house, as well as the hostages, and returned to Samaria. In a war between brothers, there are no real winners. But the one who wins this battle is the King of Israel, and he goes from here to Jerusalem. And he is going to do something unimaginable. He is going to enter the temple of Jerusalem to loot it. So we see how sometimes corruption is rooted within kings, even in biblical times. Another war that happens here is between the Philistines and King Ahaz. And who comes out victorious? Precisely the Philistines. And they will conquer the city for a period of time. And I want you to remember this because it connects once again to the Ark of the Covenant here. The archaeological excavations here began over 100 years ago in 1911. And they have evolved and help us here to rediscover history. And the excavations at this site continue to happen. And that's what we're going to see now. Look at these round stones here. This one is a bit hard to see because of all the plants that are growing. But look at this one that is here by my side now. It's a completely round, flat stone. But there's a part of it here that seems to be missing this part here. So it was flat, and on it there was a part where liquids could drain. One of the theories is that it was used for an olive oil press. But the archaeologists said that doesn't make much sense, because there's nothing around here that indicates that this place is an olive oil factory or used for anything like that. What makes more sense is that things were poured onto this stone and the liquids drained, and these liquids could probably be wine offerings or blood from sacrifices. And one more thing that reinforces this theory is this wall. This wall did not exist here in biblical times. They are made of remnants that have been gathering over time, and within them are trapped archaeological remains. So here we have, for example, pieces of pottery, and some of the white spots we see coming out of this wall are pieces of animal bones, possibly from animals that were sacrificed here. And now let's talk about the theft of the Ark of the Covenant, which starts far from here in the Ebenezer area. After a great battle between the Israelites and the Philistines come out victorious. In Ebenezer, they managed to take what was most important to the people of Israel, which was the Ark of the Covenant. And they take it to the Philistine city of Ashdod, and they place it inside a pagan temple to the god Dagon. And when they arrive in the early morning, they see Dagon fallen, their god's statue knocked down. Not quite understanding what was happening, they lift the statue. And the next early morning, when they return, the statue was again fallen, but this time decapitated. Notice that the intensity of the punishments is increasing, but even so, they do not return the ark. So God sends a plague to the city of Ashdod. What plague is this? Let's hear the verse. However, the hand of the Lord was heavy upon those of Ashdod, and he ravaged them and struck them with hemorrhoids in Ashdod and its territories. Yes, the city receives a plague of hemorrhoids, in Hebrew, chorim. It's important for us to know that this word in Hebrew does not have a double meaning. We are sure of what plague that population received. Unfortunately, when we pick up the Bible in Portuguese and also in other translated languages, sometimes the translations are not the best. Sometimes people find it ugly to talk about hemorrhoids or things like that, and that's why in Bible translations, sometimes we see that the city receives a plague of cancers, tumors, ulcers. No, folks, it's very clear what plague the population of that city receives. And it's important for us not to modify the biblical verses, and that's why our reference always has to be Hebrew. And now with the city with hemorrhoids and in great suffering, they decide that they no longer want to keep the Ark of the Covenant, but they also don't want to return it to the people of Israel, so they send it to another Philistine city, the city of Gat, which is the city that Goliath will later come from. And what happens when the city of Gat receives the ark? And it happened that as soon as they took it, the hand of the Lord came against that city, causing great distress, for he struck the men of that city, from the least to the greatest, and they had hemorrhoids in their private parts. And now that Gat too has been afflicted with hemorrhoids, they send the Ark of the Covenant to another Philistine city, the city of Ekron. Now Ekron had already heard what had happened in these cities before, and so they decide to return the Ark of the Covenant to its rightful owners, the people of Israel. After it spent 7 months, folks, these are 7 months of plagues and punishments. But they decide not to send only the ark, they want to send an offering, a gift along. And what will be the offering they will send? They will send 5 golden mice and 5 golden hemorrhoids. We have no idea what a golden hemorrhoid looks like, but they send hemorrhoids and golden mice because they are part of the plagues that these cities received. So the Philistines put the Ark of the Covenant on a cart, pulled by oxen, and also put on it this box with the 5 hemorrhoids and the 5 golden mice, and send this cart in the direction of the city of Beit Shemesh. And the Bible tells us that there were people here in Beit Shemesh looking out over the fields, and they suddenly see an image that must have seemed truly fantastic to them. They see from afar the Ark of the Covenant approaching, and they seek it and bring it here to Beit Shemesh. And the Bible says they placed it on a large stone, as it is written in this verse. The cart came to the field of Joshua, the Beth Shemite, and stopped there where there was a large stone. They cut the wood of the cart into pieces and offered the cows to the Lord as a burnt offering. The Levites took down the ark of the Lord and also the chest that was with it, in which were the golden objects, and they put them on the large stone. On the same day, the men of Beth Shemesh offered burnt offerings and sacrifices to the Lord. And where is this stone on which the Ark of the Covenant was placed? It is possibly here, and we are going to know it together now. So come with me. Where I am entering now was only excavated in December of 2019. I mean, a little before the start of the pandemic, this place was discovered. You can see that a lot of brush has grown here since then, but the archaeologists were shocked when they found this stone. And what is so shocking about this stone? It was deliberately placed here in this position. Obviously, at that time, it is 100% stable and straight. It's as if someone had set up a table here, and this table has exactly the same proportions as the Ark of the Covenant. So when in 2012, people found a place of sacrifices there, they already started to have an idea that probably this was a sacred area, some worship zone. And then in 2019, when they find the stone with the proportions of the Ark of the Covenant, everyone says, wow, could this be the stone on which the Ark of the Covenant was placed? Let's see what other clues we have here. We have stone benches around here. And these benches where people could sit here were a traditional thing in places of worship, including synagogues, that the benches were around. And another clue we have here are the black lines on the wall. The first thing archaeologists thought when they saw these black lines is that they were lines made of ashes from something that was burned on the spot. But after laboratory analyses, they discovered that these are actually animal feces that dried up and were burned over time. What are animal feces doing here in a holy place? What's going on? This was a holy place at the time when the people of Israel lived in the city of Beit Shemesh. After the Philistines defeated Akkad and conquered the city, did they deliberately desecrate this place? They simply buried it and covered it with animal feces, and then they also built, including probably a stable on top. Why did the Philistines have so much hatred for this place? Perhaps because it reminded them of what happened to them when they had possession of the Ark of the Covenant. So we still don't have 100% archaeological proof, but there's a good chance the Ark of the Covenant was placed on this stone. But as you can see, the Ark is not here. What happened to it? Not only the Philistines, but also the people of Israel will disrespect the Ark. Some people here in Beit Shemesh are going to open and look inside the Ark. What will they see? The tablets of the law, Aaron's staff, the manna. But that was something extremely forbidden. No one could look inside the Ark. No one could look directly at the Ark, let alone inside it. And that's why the city of Beit Shemesh will receive a great plague. And a good part of the population here will pass away. This shows us that God will punish all those who disrespect Him and the Ark of the Covenant. Both here in Beit Shemesh, the people of Israel and the Philistines. But here in Beit Shemesh, they only need a warning, because right after this first plague, they will take the Ark of the Covenant and send it to Kiriath Jearim, another city that belonged to the people of Israel, much closer to Jerusalem. And after a few years in Kiriath Jearim, the Ark will finally be taken to Jerusalem and then placed inside Solomon's temple. All of this began to be discovered in December of 2019. This shows us how much more archaeology has to reveal to us about the history of Israel, both here in Beit Shemesh and throughout the country. Today we learned a little more about the history of Aaron, the Brit, the Ark of the Covenant, and the plague of Chorim of Amorites. Well, as we said, not always the translations of the Bible into Portuguese are faithful. But every little piece of biblical history helps us understand a much larger and deeper issue. I thank everyone who watched the video today. A big kiss and see you next time.